I'm also learning. Hare Krishna. Now what do you think?
Click more and then live on Facebook.
Okay. When you write Bhagavad Gita, people may not know what is it. It's for public, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, go live. So they already have that page, or you created it. But go live. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. You give me the cup. Give her the. Give me the cup. Hare. No, you play the harmonium. Let him play the cup. Mridanga. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. You can sit wherever you like. You can sit here too. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You want to play Kartan? Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Jana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jashodanandana Braja Jana Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tera Vanachari Jamuna Tera Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stutara Shatasi Sima Sila Vai Charnarinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON BBT founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stutara Shatasi Sima Sila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Guri Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Mathura Dham ki jai. Mayapur Navati Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Alachwani Ramaniti Dham ki jai. Ganga Maiya Jamuna Maiya ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulsi Maharani ki jai. Wednesday Bhagavad Gita Bhaktabinda ki jai. Samaveta Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sisi Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Putale Simate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachayane Nivishesha Shunnavadi Paschalta Deshatari Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So welcome to our Wednesday Bhagavad Gita. You can pick up a book and we're going to start from, we finish up to 15. I believe we was going to start from 16. 16 to 23 because there is a, as in the beginning I mentioned, the Bhagavad Gita is not categorized or chapterized by Lord Krishna. He didn't say, Arjuna, I'm going to speak to you now, 9th chapter. He didn't say like that. He just spoke. There was a conversation that Vyasdev looked at it. And then Vyasdev and all the Acharya, they actually named the chapter, they divided the chapter by the gradual progression of the conversation. You follow? So then, just like Prabhupada says, chapter 3, he says Karma Yoga. Now, chapter 2, he said transcendental knowledge, summarizing the Bhagavad Gita. And then chapter 4, he said transcendental knowledge. Now, why chapter 3 he didn't say in English? He put Karma Yoga. So like Prabhupada felt, but in the purport, beginning purport, he writes Karma Yoga means action in Krishna consciousness. So you can put like that, but generally BBT book you can see it says Karma Yoga. So one is in English, one is in Sanskrit. As Prabhupada saw, he translated his way. And that's wonderful because that's what he sees. So some Acharya, like 4th chapter, they say Jnana Yoga. But Prabhupada didn't say Jnana Yoga, he said transcendental knowledge. I mean, it can be Jnana Yoga, but Jnana Yoga also has a different view. So it's more than Jnana Yoga. So Prabhupada writes transcendental knowledge. So this chapter, as we go, we'll see every chapter unfolds. Chapter 5 is Karma Sannyas Yoga. Vyasdev wrote, but then Baladev Vidyabhushan Thakur gives a different name. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a different name. Similar, but they have their different view to look at it. Make sense? And we try to take it, how it is relevant to us. So chapter 4, text 16. We began all the way to 23. And then next week we'll do 24 to 33. This is about Jnana Charati, Brahmacharati, how to see spiritualization, spiritualizing. Very, very attractive. So chapter 6, text 16 together. Before that, we purify our consciousness by invoking the mercy of Lord Vasudev, who is the predominating deity of consciousness, by repeating 3 times after me, please. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan, together if you like. Narayanam Namaskritam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat Nasta Prayesu Abhadresu Nitam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Mukhaṁ karati vācālam pangullangayate girim jatkripatamaham vande Sri Gurudinatarinam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Paramananda Madhavam. So chapter 4, text 16. Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayopi atra mohita tatte karma prabhakshvami Jadgeta Mokshase Subhat. Mother Anuradha, would you like to read the translation and the purport?
Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune.
So I put a question on this sloka. So you can read, welcome. So I read it. So while she reads, see if you can find it, grasp it, store it in your heart. Question is, I put, Srila Prabhupada said, even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. How can one become completely free from bewilderment? Can one adjourn from action and inaction? You know the word adjourn, stop. Can you stop it? Can you stop action and inaction. Inaction means opposite to action. So while Mother Anuradha reads, see if you can pick up the answer from it. Okay.
Action in Krishna consciousness has to be executed in accord with the examples of previous bona fide devotees. This is recommended in the 15th verse. Why such action should not be independent will be explained in the text to follow. To act in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of authorized persons who are in a line of disciplic succession, as explained in the beginning of this chapter. The system of Krishna consciousness was first narrated to the sun god. The sun god explained it to his son Manu. Manu explained it to his son Ikshvaku, and the system is current on this earth from that very remote time. Therefore, one has to follow in the footsteps of previous authorities in the line of disciplic succession. Otherwise, even the most intelligent man will be bewildered regarding the standard actions of Krishna consciousness. For this reason, the Lord decided to instruct Arjuna in Krishna consciousness directly. Because of the direct instruction of the Lord to Arjuna, anyone who follows in the footsteps of Arjuna is certainly not bewildered. It is said that one cannot ascertain the ways of religion simply by imperfect experimental knowledge. Actually, the principles of religion can only be laid down by the Lord himself. Dharmam tu sakshat Bhagavad Pranitam, Bhagavad Gita 6.319. No one can manufacture a religious principle by imperfect speculation. One must follow in the footsteps of great authorities like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Manu, Kumaras, Kapila, Prahlada, Bhishma, Shukadeva Goswami, Yamaraj, Janaka, and Bala Maharaj. By mental speculation, one cannot ascertain what is religion or self-realization. Therefore, out of causeless mercy to his devotees, the Lord explains directly to Arjuna what action is and what inaction is. Only action performed in Krishna consciousness can deliver a person from the entanglement of material existence.
So this, Hare Krishna, welcome. This is a very interesting, the whole chapter culminates few sloka. Text 24 is very important sloka. So we have to think something in our thought, in our consciousness while we are reading this chapter. So the whole chapter, Krishna is explaining Arjuna, if you remember, that he should do karma yoga, not jnana yoga. Karma yoga does what? That karma yoga where you perform the karma kanda rituals, but ultimately it connects with the Supreme and then it purifies. But then jnana yoga, it abstains from the activity. You can go to the forest, or this is what Arjuna proposed to Krishna, and you are free from the reaction of this material activity, and then you are liberated. But Krishna did not suggest that you should not do karma yoga. Jnana yoga. He rather told him you should do karma yoga, not necessarily for Arjuna, for the rest of the population to learn. Why? Because we discussed other day that we are born with a psychophysical nature. Psychophysical nature means a particular inclination, attraction to enjoy this world. It's there within us. It's not in the soul, but in our assumed nature. So, in order to purify this, how to purify? If you can just remember a little bit today and the next week, this will help us a lot. Two things we need to discuss or understand. One is compositional sense. Compositional sense means what you are composed of, what God is composed of, what the material world is composed of. You understand the word? And then another is application. Application sense, like what is used for, what this body is used for, what the material world is used for, what the spiritual world is used for. So these two things, if you can remember, this chapter will help us a lot. Actually, this Bhagavad Gita is relevant to our day-to-day life. Whatever we do, if we are just conscious through this chapter, we can get 100% Krishna consciousness instantly. This is so nice. So compositional means what is material, what is spiritual. It depends on what is made of. You follow? So something is made of Sachidananda. What is this? Tell me. Help me. Spiritual. Very good. Then what is made of 5 gross? What is that? Material. So this body is made of 5 gross materials, elements, earth, air, water, fire. So that's material. But the soul is made of, so that is spiritual. So we are everybody together. Yeah. So there is a compositional issue, sense, and then application sense. Now Krishna is going to reveal as we go each sloka. For an example, when you are cooking today, you made sabji or whatever you made, Prashant. What is it made of? Those elements. 5 material. So this is material. You follow? Now Prabhupada said, if something is material and Krishna is spiritual, you cannot offer material to Krishna. So what do? She just read something if you can catch. It says it's coming from Guru Parampara, means if you have to accept a Guru Parampara, subordination, and then through Guru Parampara, because Guru Parampara coming down from Krishna to you, if you accept your Guru, then you can spiritualize. You have to find the connection. If you don't find the connection, you cannot offer this vegetable you made. You understand my point? Everybody is cooking in this world. But if they are not initiated by the Guru Parampara, they don't have the connection and they cannot offer it. So what happened to the Hare Krishna? Come in. So what happened to their cooking? What happened to their cooking? That will remain material. Everybody is with me? Very good. So what about spiritual master's body? This is a sensitive issue. But it's the same principle. Spiritual master body is spiritual. Why? Because he finds connection and engaging all the senses to please Krishna. So therefore it is spiritual. Now Srila Prabhupada said that there are 2 boxes. One is golden box and one is gold plated box. Do you know what's the difference? Do you know the difference? Gold box and gold plated box.
I don't know what is gold plated box.
One is gold and one is gold.
The value.
Value. Very good. Value. Solid gold is gold. It has a lot of value. But gold plated has some, but not much. It may not be even sellable. People may not want it. But gold you can sell anytime. So similarly, golden box are like, gold box are like Sachidananda body. And gold plated box are like material body. But everything is Krishna's energy. So if you find the connection, that's why before you go to altar or before you offer, you chant those mantras. Naham Vipra, na cha Narapati, na api Vaishya, na Sudra. I'm not this, I'm not that. I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya, I'm not a Sudra. And then you go on the ashram. I'm not a Brahmachari, I'm not a Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. Who are you then? Everybody is with me? What is this identity? Why Mahaprabhu says no, 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 all these 8, 4 ashram, 4 varna? Because these are functional identity. We have a fundamental identity, we have a functional identity. So functional identity has to be under fundamental identity in order to be spiritualized. So then what Mahaprabhu says? Gopi bhartu pada kamalayo dasa dasa anu dasa. I'm a servant of the servant of the servant of that Supreme Lord who is the maintainer of Braja Gopis. Kintu pradyun nikhila paramananda purna amritabde. Where he exists is completely blissful. That Vishuddha pure goodness platform. So when you purify with the mantra, Om Keshavaya Namo, Narayana Namo, Madhavaya Namo, like this, it purifies and you identify yourself by the Bhuta Suddhi. It's called Bhuta Suddhi, means purifying. That I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind. Who are you? I'm a servant of my Guru. Okay, so you have a connection. That time you can offer it. Everybody understand this? Simple. We should not take it lightly. This is serious. Everything you can spiritualize if you know the process. It's a very simple process, but we have to be aware of it, that what we are doing. That's all. So, what was the question we asked there? Okay. On the 16th sloka? Anybody has anything to do, add with this, what we discuss? Otherwise, you'll go to text 17. Let's go to text 17. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.
What's the answer?
What's the answer?
Follow Guru Parampara and spiritualism.
And what was the question? I'm looking for.
No, the question was, can we stop acting and can we stop not acting?
Can we stop?
Acting and
No, action and inaction.
Stop action and inaction.
Yeah, it seems like the question is, what's the difference between action and inaction? Because you made the point, inaction seems to be the opposite of action.
Yes,
So does inaction mean no action in this regard? I think that's the question.
correct. So what will be the answer? What is action?
I don't know.
Anything that
Yeah.
anything that recommended by the scriptures, you perform. Of course, according to your modes that influencing you. And inaction means, inaction has a two definition. Inaction means not laziness. Laziness is also, you can say it, some grammatical explanations, no activities. That's why Krishna is so genius. He said to Arjuna that Vigata Jara, 330, the 330, we read that. What is that? Nirasi nirmama bhutta, sannasa adhyatma chetasa, nirasi nirmama bhutta, juddhasya vigata jara. You should not think, you should fight, but you fight with this consciousness that everything belongs to Krishna. But then if everything is your, the idea will that then nothing is mine, then why should I put my energy? Then Krishna says, Bigata Jara. No, don't be lazy. You have to be completely full speed. But at the same time, you cannot think like, well, what will be the result? If you look at the Mahabharata, Arjuna, every action, was he like a full speed fighting? Yes or no? If you look at that verse 3.30, if you look at that verse, Prabhupada quote this as a summary of, no, he said, yeah, the summary of whole Bhagavad Gita in that one verse. We read it last month. So if you look at that verse, it says that what is the Arjuna's position, how Arjuna is fighting. So Nirashi Nirmama Bhutta. He is not claiming that anything that coming out of this fight is I am liable or I am responsible or is mine. And no, nothing. He's working. So Arjuna did not say I can fight or I cannot fight. Either one is rejected. What was the conclusion? He said, I will do as you want me to. So he is working as an instrument of Krishna on Krishna's behalf. So that's why Krishna says you should fight with full knowledge. Be conscious of me. Sannasa adhatma chetasa. Adhatma chetasa means who I am, that you are my servant. You have a full knowledge of it, that all the result goes to Krishna. With that speed, Arjuna fought. So that is called, what is that called? Action or inaction? Inaction. Inaction, because karma means you have to enjoy the result. Inaction means you work for God, where your action, that selfish motive or sense gratification is disappears. It is absence. It makes sense? Like when you are preaching on behalf of your guru, when you are offering everything on behalf of your guru. Now, of course, if you say, well, since it is everything Krishna, why do I have to pay so much attention? Like Charanamrita had a little salt, not little, lot of salt in Los Angeles. Mother Akuti mentioned that story. And Prabhupada said, who made this? He had a very serious look. And this Mataji said that, well, it's Krishna, everything is Krishna's, Prabhupada did not agree with that. That's a stupidity. So everything for Krishna doesn't mean you act like everything is for you. You follow? But it's not you. Means you are absence of enjoyment spirit, but you doing with full thought, full consciousness that how to make it best to offer Krishna. There's art on that. No? It's a very fine art. That you are giving everything, but not like, well, it's not mine, so just give it. You don't have to check whether it's good or bad. No, you have to check as if it's for you, but you are not the owner. Krishna is the owner, he is the enjoyer, but you giving full attention to make the preparation, whatever it is. So like that. So action means, according to the Shastra, inaction means two things. No action. Okay, maybe we all can say one thing together. So long I have a desire, you can say, to enjoy the result of my activities, it's called action. So inaction means absence of that. Now, when you are working for Krishna or Guru, what are you thinking? Who is going to enjoy the result? Krishna. But you cannot be lazy. Well, he's going to enjoy. What do I care? No, you cannot think like that. You do exactly like you own. It is for you. But actually you don't own. You have in that thought. Also, you are not the possessor. Krishna is the owner. Krishna is the enjoyer. With that art, you give full attention without any claim. You have something, Prabhu?
Yeah, I was also going to mention the reaction. Karma means reaction also. When you're reacting in the material world, there's reaction. That's the law of karma. Prabhupada, I think it's in first canto, 5th chapter, 19th verse, the purport Prabhupada makes a distinction. When a devotee acts, even there's some mistake, it's on the reaction is controlled by Krishna. So I think karma, akarma, the distinction is reaction and no reaction, or the reaction is directly implemented by Krishna in the case of the devotee. Because in that verse, that 1:5:19, which is very similar to the Apichet Surachara verse, Prabhupada makes that point. Even a devotee makes a mistake, has a fall down, that reaction to that is Krishna's.
As long they are holding on to the service.
Right. Smarana.
Because premeditated and accidental are not same thing. Everybody understand that? Like I'm meditating to fall down and accidentally happen, they are not same. So that has to be understood. Yes. Actually, that question, akarma, bikarma, is the next question. Text 17, we're going. So text 17, we wrote the question. Srila Prabhupada writes, see if you can find while who is going to read. Lakshmi Nrsimha Prabhu, would you like to read? Okay. The entire, I'm going to put the question first. So while we read, you can see. Srila Prabhupada writes, the entire Bhagavad Gita is directed towards this conclusion. You have to find out what is that conclusion in the purport. Means you have to pay attention. What is this conclusion? Is it important to meet God to come to this conclusion? Or reading Bhagavad Gita will be enough? Or can our action through our mind and intelligence shape our situation to come to this conclusion? Then the next question is, what is karma, akarma, bikarma, kukarma, nitya karma, naimittik karma, shubha karma, ashubha karma, kamma priya karma? Wow. Okay, with that note, let's read the sloka together. Karmana vi api bodhaibam cha vikarmanaha akarmanascha bodhaibam gahana karmano gati.
Translation. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. In Prabhupada's purport. If one is serious about liberation from material bondage, one has to understand the distinction between action, inaction, and unauthorized actions. One has to apply oneself to such an analysis of action, reaction, and perverted actions, because it is a very difficult subject matter. To understand Krishna consciousness and action according to the modes, one has to learn one's relationship with the Supreme. In other words, one who has learned perfectly knows that every living entity is the eternal servitor of the Lord, and that consequently one has to act in Krishna consciousness. The entire Bhagavad Gita is directed toward this conclusion.
What was the question? What is that conclusion? This is very important, okay?
Any other conclusions against this consciousness and its attendant reactions are vikarmas, or prohibitive actions. To understand all this, one has to associate with authorities in Krishna consciousness and learn the secret from them. This is as good as learning from the Lord directly. Otherwise, even the most intelligent person will be bewildered.
So Prabhupada made a key point, Lakshmi Nrsimha Prabhu read, that to understand the action according to the modes, one has to learn what? Very secret word. Relationship. Thank you. Relationship with the Lord. We must always think every day. It is something, if you keep on thinking, it will become natural. What is the relationship with this car or this world with Krishna? What is the relationship with me and Krishna? What is the relationship with my activities with Krishna? If you can find the relationship thread, then it will be easy for purifying or spiritualizing. Generally, we don't think so much, but we can build. Your mind will be either absorbed in unthoughtful philosophy or Krishna conscious philosophy. Choice is yours. If you don't adapt or impose, convince your mind to adapt the Krishna conscious philosophy, your mind will be automatically adapting unthoughtful philosophy. It's not like, oh, philosophy is too much, this Bhagavad Gita. No, your mind is creating unnecessary nonsense. Only thing you're doing, you're replacing. You're not like a extra anything. Mind will be always constantly unnecessary, useless thought. So this is very important. Now, unlimited living entity have a unlimited varieties of eligibility. So this purport has a very significance, which have been into 3 broad categories. Baladev Vidyabhushan Thakur says this purport has 3 broad categories. One is people are born with a particular inclination. If you relate, you can see within you that people are born with karmanishta. They literally from childhood. If you go to playground, you'll see some child, their mother brings the baby to the playground, doesn't want to even get up. Come on, baby, come out. They put, no. Okay, the mama like forcing to the playground. And some baby comes in the crib like, cannot wait for unbuckle, just pulling out. And mommy release the buckle, running, boom, fall. It's like, what is going on? It's modes, material modes. One is possessed by the, or you can say influenced by the Rajagun, is like a running. And one is like a Tamagun, doesn't want to move. It's not really the child. It's just the child is covered by those modes. Of course, soul chooses, not like automatically impose. Maya does not impose. We made our choice for her to influence us. So here in this purport, you have to see in a 3. Those who are conscious about what is this world, who am I, where you'll see some karmi people, even they think, but they don't have the answer, but they think. They have actually eligibility to become devotee very quick. And there are some people, they also think like, yes, life is like so tough. I want to be free from all this. So they are eligible to become jnani. And the majority, I want to make profit and I can enjoy, buy a better house. They're like, mind is going crazy. So they are eligible for karma. So there is a karma nishta, jnana nishta, prema nishta, bhakti nishta. Everybody follow? If you look at your childhood life, you didn't just become devotee like this. You have that kind of intention from childhood that you are a little bit thoughtful. You want to be aware, like, what is all this? What is life? Sometime you thought. And then Krishna eventually guided you and you became devotee. There are some people, they can be even sitting here, if they have a karma nishta influence, they'll be thinking like, I wonder how much Dhiralal bought this house. Yeah, he developed good, he can sell it, make money. Hari Baba, you sitting in a Bhagavad Gita class, why are you thinking of making money and profiting? Because that's how his inclination. You follow? They will be sitting and they will be thinking like this. So in the karma nishta, so the karma, if you can remember or make a chart, karma, you break down to 2. There's an auspicious karma called Shubha karma, inauspicious karma called Ashubha karma. So Ashubha karma, first I'll deal with it. Ashubha karma means it does not produce anything good. But who is saying this? From the spiritual view. Those who are doing inauspicious activity, they are not thinking like this. You follow? You'll say, oh, I thought this guy should know that he is killing the cow and this is bad. No, he doesn't know. This is from spiritual view, we grade this. You follow? They think this is what they want. So, inauspicious karma are 2 types. One is laziness or karma, another is doing something against Vedic rules, regulation. He just read. I just broke it down. So like those who are, this 4 regulatory principle, those who are breaking 4 regulatory principle, they are actually sinful inclination, period. It is not a just Prabhupada introduced. This Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually heavily introduced that. in his time. And if you look at the history of this, all the sinful culminates into these four. So those who break this four equality principle, which is majority in the world, they are bringing inauspiciousness in their own life. Everybody follow? And those who are interested to do nothing, they're just lazy. They like to just sleep or drug or just escape. So both are inauspicious, but there's two categories. Now come to auspicious, Subha Karma. What is Subha Karma? Means those who follow according to the some scriptures, whether Christian, Buddhist, whoever, they have to follow some scripture. So according to scripture, there are three types. One is Karma Karma, one is Nitya Karma, one is Naimitya Karma. Circumstantial. So I'm going to give Nitya Karma. Nitya Karma means if they become a good spiritual, religious person, then they will go higher destiny. They think, I'm going to do this, so I'll go to higher destiny. Why you go to church? Because I don't want to go to hell, I will go to heaven. Okay. It's the same. Why you do namaz 5 times a day? Because so I'll go to Allah, whatever it is, somewhere that not part of this world of birth, death, old age, disease. So this idea is there. So they follow. These are called Nitya Karma. But Bhakti, pure devotional service, is not Nitya Karma actually. It is transcendental. Krishna consciousness is not a karma, bikarma, or any karma, no karma. It is pure nirgun, like a transcendental, above the three modes. So we should not take it very lightly, chanting or honoring prasadam or hearing Bhagavad Gita. This actually it purifies our consciousness. We may not see it. You may say, well, 10 years back, I was listening Bhagavad Gita. 10 years later, I'm still listening. I don't see any difference within me, except I'm getting old. Actually, that's not true. Your body is getting old. The soul doesn't get old. There's no age for soul. There's no beginning, no end. It's eternal. We are indestructible. And we should, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explained the indestructibility of spiritual reality. So when we perform bhakti, Prabhupada said our subtle body is changing. What caused you Guyana body? What caused you Russian body? The subtle body. The impression, subtle body means Shushka Deha within us. So subtle body is purifying. Even though physically we may not see much difference, but the subtle body is purified. So when we leave this world, our subtle body will not take to another body unless we have some attachment. That's difference. You follow? But subtle body, when it's purified, you're out, literally above three modes. But that doesn't mean enough. You have to have two things. I think I mentioned that one time. You have to have a subordination. Always you remember Srila Prabhupada. Even you have your own individual guru. Raghunath Das Goswami in Manosiksha, he says that one has to link with their guru and Mahabhagavat. Because Prabhupada has exhibited his Mahabhagavat status. We should always think, and Prabhupada also says is that for next 10,000 years, he is a Shiksha Guru for everybody. So this is wonderful. We should always identify, I'm a Shiksha disciple or Diksha disciple of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. That's one. And that eagerness to serve the Lord. If you have these two things, then at the moment of death, you subtle body will be taking you, or it will be spiritual, already spiritualized probably right now. Just like Prabhupada gave an example, if you may be lying down in your bed, and if somebody asks your spouse, where is Mr. So-and-so, your husband? Oh, he's lying down on the bed. But you may be not lying down on the bed. You may be gone in a dream somewhere else. You may go to Louis Bazaar in Vrindavan, or I'm just using it. You may go somewhere. So are you in here or Louis Bazaar? Where? Both. Because you are connected with both bodies, subtle body and the physical body. So try to understand this. Subtle body is changing. It's transforming. It's spiritualizing. Everybody understand? So take advantage. Any opportunity. You may not see physically, but subtle way, we are completely purified. That is wonderful. Anything you do in Krishna consciousness, it's only benefit. It's like a gold coin in the deposit, spiritual deposit bank. And noimittic karma means circumstantial. Circumstantial means, oh, so and so getting married. Where? In the church, in the temple. Wow, they come there, they have a little kirtan, they talk, they hear something. He's a good man, pious man. He goes to temple for wedding. That's good, but that's not actually spiritual completely, but it's circumstantial. Means they have some inclination, but it is not enough. You follow? But it's still there. You'll see many. Even with the Hare Krishnas, the wedding party is the biggest crowd or gathering. I observed. I'm not saying somebody said, I saw it. Besides festivals, big festival like Janmashtami, other, regularly you don't see. But for the wedding, whoever they invite, they all come. And it's nice. It's nothing wrong, but it is just that those activities are circumstantial. It is not a fundamental identity of the soul. Soul doesn't need merit. Soul is not a boy or girl. Soul is pure spirit. With the service, a particular form will be given. Not given, it already has the soul. You follow? In that case, Nanda Maharaj is not a man of this world. Nanda Maharaj is Krishna's dad. He looks like a man, but he's not a man of this world. We have to understand. Soul doesn't have a gender like we think of gender in this world. And then Kaima Priya Karma. So last one is that when you are selfish motivated, completely selfish. I'm doing austerity fasting for 3 days. Why? So I can double my salary or something. Something good will happen. What is going to happen? I'm not getting what I want. I'm going to get it. The best car, that good car, I want it. So I'm going to do some austerity or something. You follow? Those activities, it looks like a spiritual activity, but it's not benefiting the soul. That's all. Everybody understood that? So karma divided, auspicious, inauspicious, inauspicious 2 types, and auspicious 3 types. Okay, with that note, we'll go to the text 18. Yes,
I
Prabhu.
would be selfish if I went, okay, I'll do some austerity to like make stronger my sadhana, you know? Like
That is
it seems-
bhakti.
But it seems also selfish, like I do it just for myself to wake up early, let's say. I fast for 3 days so I can regularly wake up at certain time. So I just set my mind like this, you know? So it's kind of like I care about myself as well.
Is it really you doing for yourself?
Yes, seems
No.
to be like, you know, otherwise, you know, I
No.
want to wake up early.
If you really go deep down within you, what ignited you to become serious? Because it will please.
Because
No, it will please when you act as a servant of your Guru and Krishna. So to come to that level of pure state, you are motivated to do that. That's ultimately pleasing Krishna. Mahaprabhu came to deliver us. So your motivation is actually pleasing Krishna. If you come closer by purifying, taking more endeavor to become serious and do more sadhana, ultimately it's pleasing Mahaprabhu. Because that's the purpose Mahaprabhu came. Yuga dharma pravartena hoy angso ite. Mahaprabhu said this, that I have come to take you back home, back to Godhead. So you're pleasing, even though it is your own self-motive, but it's pleasing Guru and Krishna. Why Guru gave you initiation? To engage you in Krishna consciousness and take you back home, right? So when your motivation, even though it's selfish apparently, but it's actually for their pleasure.
But what if the motivation not to please them, but to get a better life? Like, because everyone.
Or better life.
It's like the spiritual world is so nice. You like serve Krishna. He's so awesome. So
That's wonderful.
So you want this life for yourself because it's better than what you have now.
Correct.
So,
But that is normal. That is natural for the soul. That is what spiritual is. That pleases Krishna. If you have a child, if the child is sick and child is taking the medication on time, is that making you happy as a mother? Yes. Now child may say, Oh, I don't like sickness. I want to get better, so I'm taking for myself. But that's also pleasing the mother, isn't it? Now, if the child say, I don't care, I'll just flush it in the toilet because somebody did that also. Now, child may say, I don't care. Now, that's not pleasing the mother. So even if selfish motivation to progress in spiritual life, it's pleasing Krishna and Guru. Makes sense?
Very close to liberation. You know?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but then liberation is not what we're looking for. You know, then it's very
But-
subtle line between, okay, you know, I do the sincerity to have a better life, a spiritual world, you know,
Mhm.
or like another, like my body, they say we want liberation. You know,
Mm.
it's also kind of like have a better life in somewhere else, you know, just kind of very close, you know, like, you know, how you're like can sleep and lose the devotion by thinking, I just want a good life in spiritual world, you know, whatever, like, you know, whatever I have to serve, I will serve, just have a good life, you know.
That's good. There's nothing wrong. It looks like selfish motivation in the beginning. It appears like, but it's actually ultimately pleasing the Supreme Father. Because that's what his intention is. পৃথিবীতে আছে যত নগরাদি গ্রাম সর্বত্র প্রচার হইবে মোর নাম. Why did Mahaprabhu say this? Every town and village my name should be, so that they can come and drink this Krishna consciousness. Now, if you're coming to actually enjoy in Krishna consciousness, that's also wonderful. It served the purpose. He came to pick you up and he's saying, I'm going for myself. It's okay, same thing. It makes sense. Yeah.
That makes me happy.
No, you may be looking from your selfish interest. I understand that point. But the point is that Mahaprabhu, purpose of coming Mahaprabhu to take us back home. So if we are self-motivated, I'm going for myself, wonderful. Purpose is done. Ultimately, it will please Guru and Krishna. Believe me, and if you don't get motivated to go, you say, I don't care, I will enjoy the material. It is not going to please Guru or Krishna. So self-motivation for spiritual receiving mercy is wonderful. You had something, Prabhu?
Yeah, I have a question, just that verse, Akama Sarva Kama. Kama.
Udareni, Tibrena Bhakti Yogena Jajata. That's a suggestion given. That whether you have a full desire or no desire, whether you have a liberation desire, just do bhakti. Because why? Tibrena Bhakti Yogena. But you have to do it seriously. If self-motivation actually comes to you are so motivated, you automatically ready to get up early morning and chant. You are motivated for your own sake, but ultimately it solved the purpose. So is it self? It appears, but it is not. So it's good. It's all good. If some
The question is there a distinction between Ashubha karma and Vikarma?
Ashubha karma has two. One is bikarma, one is akarma. Bikarma means that which is not recommended, like killing cow, whatever, like list goes on. And akarma means lazy, not to do any pious activity. Is that okay? Okay. Okay, we go to text 18. We're doing well. Karmani akarma ja pashet akarmani cha karma ja sabuddhimana manasesu sajukta Krishna karma krit. Who is going to read? Mata, what is your name? Bhagavad.
One who sees inaction, and the action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position. Although engaged in all sorts of activities, the person, this is translation.
Purport.
The person act in Krishna consciousness is naturally free from the bonds of karma. His activities are all performed for Krishna. Therefore, he does not enjoy or suffer any of the effect of work. Consequently, he is intelligent in human society. Even though he is engaged in all sorts of activities for Krishna, akarma means without reaction to work. The impersonalist sees fruitive activities out of fear, so that the resultant action may not be a sublime block on the path of self-realization. But the personalist knows rightly his position as eternal survivor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he engages himself in activities of Krishna consciousness. Because everything is done for Krishna, he enjoys only transcendental happiness in the discharge of this service. Those who are engaged in this process are known to be without desire for personal sense gratification. The sense of eternal servitorship to Krishna makes one immune to all sorts of reactionary elements of work.
This is very nice. So it is not the action, it is the intention behind the action. Like Prabhupada said, if a soldier kills so many people in the war and he comes back to the country, returns to the country, he get a medal for killing people. But the same person, if he kills his neighbor, he will go to jail. Everybody understand that point? So it's like an intention that under subordination, guru, whatever activity we do, according to their suggestion, it's giving spiritual benefit 100%. But on our own inference, no. We have to suffer for it, whatever we do. Yes.
So, when it's like, I was wondering about like the intention behind our action. I've heard this like over time, over the years, and I see within myself sometimes and think about, well, isn't it also though the intensity of my endeavor is just as important, because I may have the intention of pleasing the Lord, but if the quality of my endeavor is not there, isn't my intention shaky? Isn't there a balance that needs to come with my seva?
Yeah, Prabhupada says actually two things, that in order to see the result, your intensity and purity, not only action, like what motivation behind that action. So consciousness behind the action is more important than the action. And we give that example of Hanumanji building the big boulders and squirrel taking little dust. But then Lord Ram told to Hanumanji that it is not the magnitude I am looking for, the attitude I am looking for. Make sense? Okay. So we go to the text 19. I made a question before we read it. Srila Prabhupada asserts, one is understood to be full knowledge, one is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every act is devoid of desire for sense gratification. Now, sense gratification, I want to just, because we use this sometime, maybe it's just me, could be, that we misunderstand. Spiritual life is not like no sense gratification. Means when the intention is for my pleasure, we use that word sense gratification or karma. But when the sense gratification for the pleasure, like honoring prasadam, that's also sense gratification. But that is transcendental sense gratification. And it is good, because when Prabhupada was challenged, he said, I have this quote actually in my iPhone because I never heard the way Prabhupada said, so nice. He says, we are not against sense gratification. These young boys and girls, they are having transcendental sense gratification. They enjoy, they dance, they sing. These are all sense gratification, but these are pure. It purifies and we enjoy. There's nothing wrong. You follow? If you're Krishna consciousness is not like restricting you to not to enjoy. No, we should enjoy, but in a purifying, transcendental way. Everybody with me? Understood that point? Okay. So this is interesting. So the question is, Prabhupada asserts one is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every act is devoid of desire for sense gratification. So in this sense, Prabhupada is saying that for their own enjoyment they think, nothing to do with God. One may question, is our desire eternal? Is desire eternal?
It's material.
He says no. You said material.
Which kind of desire?
No, question is desire. We should be very thorough. Satchidananda, Chit has a two function. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Chit has a two function. And Chit has a two characteristics. Chit is knowledge, but that knowledge, Prabhupada writes, is culminate when you are impregnated with spiritual knowledge. You're learning, acquiring knowledge. Then you applying the knowledge, it becoming realized knowledge. Then with that realized knowledge, your service will cause revealed knowledge. Krishna will reveal himself. You follow? So acquiring knowledge is good, but it's not enough. It's like you cut the vegetable, but you didn't make the sabji. What's the use of cutting the vegetable if you didn't make the sabji? And if you made the sabji, you didn't offer or eat it. Why did you cook them? So it's like that. So there has to be complete job. Complete job means you acquire knowledge. You're hearing about Krishna, this knowledge of this world, the relationship between God and this world and me. But you have to apply it. Just hearing is not enough. Apply it. When you apply, then it will become realized. And once you realize and you act on that platform, then Krishna will reveal. That revealed knowledge is effective. Then when you say something to someone, their consciousness will be purified. Just acquire knowledge is not enough to purify others' consciousness or even mine. So, Chit potency, we gather knowledge when we apply, then this knowledge establishes two things in spiritual realm when we come to Suddha Sattva. Our feeling and our relationship. You follow? Experience and nourishment is the function of Ladini potency, pleasure potency. But cognition potency, Chit potency, these two things, relationship and feeling. Then it has a two characteristics, same Chit potency, free will and desire. Eternal, you cannot destroy, even if you try. Why I said this? Because in Los Angeles, I went one time, they pay $500 to sit against the wall. Everybody, you have to pay $500 to sit against the wall. And those monk comes and whips you. Hey, you desire, release it. They want to make you empty desire. Well, there is no such thing. Absolutely, there is no such thing. Because to desire, to become empty desire is another desire. It's like a stupid idea, but people pay. Because I went there, I didn't pay. But it was very interesting. They got like 17 people in that room, and they're facing in the wall, and this monk like whip a little bit after a while. They do this for 7 days, $500 gone. I thought it was a good business. But it does, because everybody understood this. Two things you can never give up. It is what made you. You are made of that. You have eternal free will and desire. Now, the free will has a two function. Free will has a, what free will does? What free will does? Create desire, attitude. Where attitude come from? Free will. I want to respect other devotees. Where that's coming from? Free will, your choice. So be aware that you have a big asset. This is the best asset Krishna gave. We should be eternally indebted and thanked to him. If we didn't have a free will, what's the value of life? So this allows us to have a good character, good attitude, respect to others, humility. These are function of the free will. And so desire is eternal. And then free will has another function is willpower. Willpower has a two other function. Abstinence and persistence. I will go on. But you cannot go on unless you are empowered. Some Shakti has to come from Guru to disciple. You follow? Empowerment causes perseverance. Without empowerment, not possible. So those devotees who are chanting for decades, they already have some empowerment. Otherwise, not possible. You follow? And then abstinence. So that's persistence. Abstinence means I'm going to not break four regulative principle. I'm not going to think bad about other devotee. I'm not. These are like abstinence. You're trying to like not escaping, like not to do those. But is it possible? Yes and no. If you have a good sadhana, yes. If you don't have a good sadhana, you will fail. Because these are against material nature. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, I was thinking the word should be desire. Desiring is eternal. But desires are what comes from desire, you know. But to say desire is eternal, I mean, right?
Desire is eternal. When it filters through mind, then is material. When its origin, thinking, willing, feeling coming from the soul, but it filters through. It filters through intelligent, through mind, through vital, through sensual. So it depends where it's filtering through. We cannot become empty of desire. We can replace. To desire to please the Lord can replace desire to not to please the materialist. You can replace, but desire you cannot stop.
One's a verb and the other one's a noun.
Yeah.
Desiring is the act.
Correct.
You know, and the other one is a noun, the result.
Correct. Correct. Okay, so we're going to read the sloka 19. And the question everybody understood. Do our desire need to be diminished temporarily? It's just a tricky question for you to think. Okay, together. Jassa sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjita yagnai dakta karmanam tamaho pandita buddha. Who is going to read? Mr. Kumar? Okay, go ahead.
One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Perfect. Only a person in full knowledge can understand the activities of a person in Krishna consciousness. Because the person in Krishna consciousness is devoid of all kinds of sense gratificatory propensities. It is to be understood that he is burned up the reactions of his work by perfect knowledge of his constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is actually learned who has attained to such perfection of knowledge. Development of this knowledge of eternal servitorship to the Lord is compared to fire. Such a fire, once kindled, can burn up all kinds of reactions.
Very nice. So I have a question. Do we choose our interest or do our interest choose us? Huh?
We choose our interests.
We choose our interest.
There is already inclination.
Is it
Yeah.
Both.
Depends.
You know, this devotee in Alachua, one devotee named Arjuna used to work for me many years back. I remember he told me that he was so much attracted to soccer, he would work hard for his father just so that he can be released, he will be allowed to go, and he had to like go in a bicycle for 5 miles every day just to play soccer. So I said, what was it? He said, I don't know, the soccer is like it got me. I cannot think anything that I can, it's like a deep addiction or something like that. He could not imagine life without playing soccer. So I thought many times, like, wow, that's very far out. Like there are a lot of people like this. When there's a game, they'll do anything to just watch that game. So that question is very relevant. That can we do anything about our interest? No or yes?
Yes. We can change the taste. Things.
Very good. Both, actually. No, in the sense that we may need to acknowledge that something may never interest us naturally. It might be best if we choose a life vocation that is in harmony with our natural interest. And it is yes. Well, how? In the sense that we can choose among our interest. Some of our interests may drag us back or down. For example, interest in mindless acquisition, consumption driven by excessive greed. Anybody had that? Sure, I had that. I saw that. In contrast, some other interests may draw us ahead and up. For example, interest is in singing, teaching, managing, that enable us to grow and contribute, both materially and spiritually. So now, by carefully self-observation, we can understand how our various interests are affecting us. Then we can nourish our healthy interest by consciously, consciously means with intelligence, decision with intelligence. Consciously attending to them and starve our unhealthy interest by consciously neglecting them. Everybody got it?
But then it comes to, so that it all comes to association then.
Yes, not only association. What is association? Association means
Things does not come naturally, like you said, like certain interest will not come naturally. It means, so they might come then imposed by something else, like by good association or the equal by bad association.
yes.
For example, certain ideas you would never imagine unless you see it, and you saw it and then you have this idea, and maybe you will develop or not develop the interest. So like
Yes.
all these,
Yes.
like, because we are not, like here, we're not isolated, So that's why, like, all this interest, not interest, is it, yes or not? It only depends on your association.
That's true.
What you associate with, which
Association.
knowledge you associate with, and knowledge come from what? From books, now from internet, and that's how you will develop your interest, and then who is interest rules you or you rule your interest, but it also depends on association and your willpower.
Well, that's why we have to come to this conclusion that we cannot always choose our interest, but we can always choose amongst our interests. Association, like what they call crystal. Crystal, anywhere you put the crystal, it assumes the color of the place surrounding. So good association means if I am actually affected by their presence in my consciousness, then it will change. But the choice is still I am making. Even in bad association, I can pick that I don't want this. I have the choice to not to be, even though I may be in the jail. For an example, some people may say, well, they don't have a choice. Well, they may be in the jail and they may think like, okay, Haridas Thakur told all the prisoner, well, if you go outside, you have to work hard for your livelihood. In the jail, you don't have to work hard for your livelihood. So take advantage of chanting Hare Krishna all the time. Now, did everybody agree in the prison? No. Some people thought, oh, this is great. He actually is right. But majority thought, oh, I thought you are sadhu, you're supposed to release us from the prison, not tell us to stay in the jail. So even though he is giving association, the best association, Haridas Thakur, but you think they appreciate it? No, not majority. Because they thought sadhu means they should give us relief from the prison. But outside is another prison, prison in the prison. What's the benefit? So sadhu means, sadhu association, not necessarily everybody will get. It's question of proportion to our conscious acceptance of their advice. How much actually we can follow them, that much association.
But also, unless you know what is favorable for you, what is not.
Correct,
you
correct,
cannot,
correct.
like you're so exclusive.
Correct. If they listen, if they hear Harikatha from a great sadhu and they can actually consciously accept what they are hearing, and even though may not understand, but if they can just stay in a neutral, okay, I don't understand, but I hear what this person is saying, eventually it will affect. So that's why that example, association of Haridas Thakur, not appreciated by them. They thought that Haridas Thakur, because Haridas Thakur also came to jail by the Muslim, because of it.
No, that it's very favorable for them. Nobody taught them. You know what I mean?
Well, you cannot say that. We have a free will.
Yeah, free will.
We have a free will. Even if you sit in the middle of a Lord Krishna, Balaram, Surupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, all, doesn't mean you will become pure devotee. Duryodhan literally conversed with Krishna. Duryodhan met Vidura. He insulted Vidura. Vidura is Mahabhagavat, eternal associate, came as a Jamaraj, but he's eternal associate. So our choice, it's not necessarily somebody teaching. Vidura taught so many things. Did you want to accept? No, he doesn't want to accept.
So if you don't accept somebody as your teacher, can you tell that was my teacher? No, then it means Vidura was not his teacher.
No.
If he never accepted.
No, sadhu is sadhu. Krishna is Krishna. Krishna is God to Duryodhan, whether he accepts or not, doesn't matter. Krishna is Krishna. Nobody makes Krishna. Krishna is Krishna. Eternally, he is only existential Bhagavan is Krishna. Duryodhan does not care. That's his problem. It is not Krishna's problem. Because something Krishna gave, the free will, choice, whether or somebody didn't teach him, or Vidura was trying to teach him, but he doesn't want to hear. There's a misuse of free will is such a contagious.
Right,
bad.
and then, then you go like to analyze how it's, then you come down to the thing, what is the activity that doesn't matter of whatever your tools are, whatever is your choice, that will be beneficial, like having prasadam, like we're distributing prasadam, doesn't matter, whatever the person.
That is correct. That is correct.
Or like hearing the Sankirtan.
That is
Like,
correct.
doesn't matter whether a person had previous past activities to make the right choice, executed.
That is true.
Like then it all comes to this, okay, forget about all this analyzing, just do something that is favorable for people, like, okay,
That is
prasadam,
true.
Sankirtan,
That is true.
that's only what we can do.
But there is a still, you have to value the free will, I tell you right now. You are saying is correct, it's true. But I tell you why. Because Krishna doesn't make love with a robot. Shishupal, they all got liberation, Duryodhana also. That's Krishna. He wants to give liberation, anybody and everybody, whenever he decides, whoever he decides. But still, if they do not appreciate and glorify, they can only go up to liberation, merged. Prabhupada said it very clear. Those who could not glorify, seeing Krishna's beauty, Krishna's kindness, he's exhibiting. But we still have a choice whether we want to glorify him or not. You follow? Krishna can show so much merciful activity right in front of me, but I choose ignoring. What Krishna can do? And if you say Krishna forcefully does it, then it is not a love, it is a force. It has to have a free choice. So there is up to a limit, prasadam can liberate someone, it can go, but still free choice means that person has to come at one point, yes, I want to serve God. Otherwise, he cannot enter into spiritual domain. He can go to liberation, that's it.
But he can start already, right?
If he wants.
Even if he doesn't want, if he wants,
He can stay there. No, he cannot go into. No, try to
He
understand.
will start.
If somebody does not have any intention to please you, will you allow him to come to your private place? If somebody hates you, come and be honest. No. So when some soul doesn't have any intention, even Krishna gives all the facility, but still he's not going to force us to love him.
Now I'm getting confused. You said if soul doesn't have an intention, souls always have intention to be with God, but
Soul has always what?
Intention to
For
be
what?
with God.
To what?
To associate with God, to be soul is Sachidananda.
Soul has the intention of what?
To be with God,
No.
to serve God.
No. No.
Soul not?
No, soul is position, but that doesn't mean he will act. It has to have a free choice. That example that Prabhupada gives, that you put a gun on the forehead of a girl, that you love me or I'll kill you. What is the wrong in that picture?
Yeah, because
it's force. It should not be forced.
That's not love.
Correct. So Krishna will never force. The soul has to come. Krishna will send, Krishna will help, but Krishna will not force him. That choice each of us has. Krishna will never stop loving that soul, but reciprocation he doesn't want to force. That is individual choice. That is the conclusion.
But when you say that the soul is the eternal servitor of Krishna, every soul, right?
Yes, that a position.
But it also has eternal connection with Krishna in form of love, because service is love, right?
Yes.
So if soul is eternal servitor of Krishna, means he has that connection in somewhere. Means there is this intention to be with God.
it's just conditions.
Indirectly.
So
But there is a very fine line. If you look at 1860, Sabhavajena kunte nibaddasena karmana kartum nechasi janmahat karishasyavar. You can fight either for me or you'll fight for my Maya. That's what Krishna told to Arjuna. He did not say, look, you fight for me or I'll kill you. He didn't say that. He will never say that. That's Krishna. He said, you can either fight for me or you will fight, but you will fight for Maya. So when we say we're positioned as a servant, if we don't serve Krishna directly, we will serve Krishna's Maya. But what's the benefit? Serving Krishna's Maya. I'll be still remain poor beggar, struggling for happiness, ultimate happiness. It is not pleasing Krishna directly. Krishna did not say. You cannot give up service, that's true, your relationship, but it's not directly pleasing Krishna. There is a difference, a big difference. Nobody actually told Duryodhana to insult Vidura. Nobody. It's on his own. So many good advice came, so many good advice. Dhritarashtra was advised by Vidura, by Vyasdev, so many ways. You have unlimited. Give them little 5 land, little. No, I will not give anything. That is their own choice they are making. We cannot blame God for any individual soul suffering here. It's their own choice. Whether ignorantly or if you go to the court and say, you know, I was drunk and I killed these people, it's not my fault. It was the liquor did that, you know, liquor influence. So you should sue the liquor. Well, the judge will say, who choose to drink? Then you are responsible. So we cannot escape from it. Only thing we can do, transform our consciousness into spiritual proper. That's all. We should come back as a servant, not as a challenger. Yes, Prabhu.
One thing to throw this into the mix of what we're speaking about is samskaras.
Yes.
We should understand that samskaras, you know, creates our intentions and our interests.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why in bhakti, it is the process, particularly in the Vaidhi Bhakti path, to create samskaras that give us the inclination towards our natural tendency to serve God, not the perverted tendency to serve senses and the mind. So everything that we're experiencing in terms of inclinations and interests is coming from the samskaras. Henry David Thoreau once said that you cannot walk through a field once and create a path that
Keep going.
That has to be traversed many times in order to create a path.
Yes.
Our inclinations are coming from our mental paths, you know, what we are associating with on the mental platform. We create these paths, and the more we associate with a particular thought, then it creates a very deeply ingrained path. And that's why sometimes devotees practicing Krishna consciousness for so many years, and they find themselves still attracted to things which are adverse to pure bhakti. It's because mentally they're still associating on a regular basis and keeping that inclination deep-rooted, deeply ingrained, and therefore it comes up as inclination, tendency.
They don't let it go. Correct. So it boils down to the same point that it's our own, we are making choice. We are creating our own destiny. So we have to be just cautious and careful. Yes, Mother.
You're just talking about the importance and like the focus on free will and like all the different aspects, like association or interest, which one's like has more of a weight. I started thinking about like when you work with drug addicts, there's some that are court mandated to go to programs and have therapy. So you give them therapy and they have the association of people who are modeling behavior to help reintegrate them back into society. But still, when you look and work with them versus the individuals who come out of free choice, and there's some that come from because their family's pushing them. So you have the association of good family members or friends going, no, but you can do this, you can get help. Those that are most successful are the ones that come on their own, who make a choice and understand why they're making that choice. usually the people that are pushed by family members or court mandated, they end up back on the
Correct.
streets.
So you are bringing the same point that the individual choice, how important it is. Yeah. Our choice is never lost. Maybe it's limited due to the circumstances, whatever, but choice is always there. Choice is always there. And the ultimate Madhurya Kadambini Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, in any circumstances, you can always find favorable to bhakti, to please Lord. Now, the opposition say, well, I don't see in my life I have any choice. No, you just don't know how to read the situation. You have to consult with the advanced devotee who can translate your situation is a favorable. Not that every devotee can see whatever, because I went through in a life where I could not see. And Jayadatta Maharaj actually retranslated. He said the way he said, I started thinking, and then, actually, it could be Krishna's plan. And I see, now I look at, there was Pran Govinda's like a movie life that he passed by. It's very, very mystical. Sometime, or not sometime, a lot of time, devotee cannot see what is best for them. So in that case, they need to go to a senior devotee who is experienced and realized to translate their situation as a favorable. You follow? Even though they are experiencing, but they cannot see it is favorable. But it is favorable, always. Question is, you have to be willing to go to a senior devotee or invite a friend who can help. But don't invite a friend who you like in the same situation. No, it's not a helpful. You may rather go down. It's true. It's very true. Even Margaret, she's the superintendent of this Stark prison. She said a lot of inmates, they forget that actually the purpose of coming to jail for a correction, reform, but they forget that. They become like habituated and they like it. But that's not the prison made for. But that's how it is. People really don't value their free choice that Krishna gave. We should utilize that. With that note, we could not go all the way, but that's okay. It's okay, you can read. And we'll just sing for 1 minute. Is that okay? Okay. You want to give me the mridanga and you play the harmonium, please? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya